Hi guys, you're back here with me, Jen the Taxidermy Witch, and I'm showing you things that I've either foraged from nature or foraged from my kitchen or my house for witchcraft workings, okay? So let's get started and go through what we've got here. Thank you for everybody who joined my live last night. It was the first time in a while. I had a good time. It wasn't a bad experience, so yay. As you know, we've been talking more about hoodoo and things that you can do for workings with hoodoo. So first I want to talk about that, as I've got a lot of new hoodoo viewers and people who want to talk more on that topic. As you know, I'm an eclectic witch, and I take all aspects of witchcraft, put them together, and use what I like, what I bond with, and, you know, what intuition tells me is something for me. So, talking about hoodoo. When we were reading through the book, Hoodoo by Monique, we talked particularly about keeping your sugar, the paper from your sugar bag for petition paper, or just writing on brown paper that you find, like, that wraps up meat, because those were the two options that they had. Well, also in hoodoo, the main thing is that you use what you've got around you, because that's the action. Don't go out and buy something. Kind of forage what you can, either from your house or from nature, or what you can create. So I just want to show you, I have a sugar box, okay? This is actually the sugar my husband uses. I like to use a nice raw sugar. However, I won't lie, I grew up with this kind of sugar, and it's pretty easy, it's pretty tasty, but it's definitely refined and not so good for you, right? Sugar's not naturally that white. But anyway, there was still like half left. So what I did is I just filled up the sugar jar, took the box, and now on the inside, it's actually that brown paper. Oh, there's a little sugar left. It is good. So if you want to do a petition paper for either a sweetening jar, or to make somebody like you more, or a love working, or something like that, you will do it on this, on the inside of the box, okay? And you can just get scissors and cut that up into the sizes that you like. But remember, the sugar was actually stored in here. It's probably been in here for quite some time. Oh, look, they're on the non-GMO bandwagon. I don't feel so bad about it now. That's pretty cool. Good for you, CNH. So yeah, now I don't feel so bad about that. But sugar boxes, really excellent thing to have for your petition papers, because it was holding onto that sugar for so long. Does that make sense? Another thing that you can use is, last night I enjoyed a Lone Star beer. If you want to do a working inside of this beer can for the same kind of reason, like the sugar box held something so sweet, so you're going to do a sweetening petition on the paper. This held something that intoxicates somebody. So you can do a working right inside of this can, tape it up, and bury it. If you wanted to, I mean, you could do it for addiction workings, and you could put banishing herbs in this so that you're banishing alcoholism out of somebody's life. You could also do it if you have somebody, like, if that's just so perfect and they're cruel to you, and you feel it's justified to maybe intoxicate them a little bit, so that they're not so perfect or on point. This is just an idea that's popping into my head. It's not a working I've done before that I suggest, but it is an idea for a working. So just think of what the actual item did and how you can use it. This is honestly a piece of recycling otherwise, right? It would be recycled onto something else. That's awesome. But at the same time, I'm recycling it in my own way. Another thing, let's talk about for monies. Your pay stubs, the envelope that your pay stubs come in. This is the little piece of paper that somebody wrapped up for me to put my lunch tips in. I burn these for money workings, and I'll write my petition on it. Also, it's got the handwriting of the person, if I ever needed that. That can be important in kind of like return to sender stuff, banishing workings, hexing workings, things like that. Also, my work schedule that I wrote on, that brought me money, didn't it? So these are all considered papers that you could use for money workings. So that's something that I foraged for magic. Also, here in the state of Washington, marijuana is legal. And it has been for a very long time for medical and for recreational just for a short time. But, so I've been using marijuana medicinally for quite some time. I know that I've talked about that on my channel before, but I would like to say that now. So I forage these things that my medical marijuana comes in, and they're these teeny tiny glass jars. And they're so good for keeping fingernails of your own, or, lamp back. Lamp back is when you, on a spoon, you burn it and then you scrape off the black stuff. I keep lamp back in these, and then the lamp back you can make ink out of. You can make all kinds of, like, magical things with lamp back. Lampback, all one word, lamp back. So there's lots of little things that you might need a glass jar for, but I think that these are super rad, and the fact that they're glass and they just held something so small and it's just going to go to waste. I'm going to use these jars for a long time. I really like them. So I've got loads of these, but I just wanted to show you that those were some from this week that I was able to forage. Also, you guys know that I use a vape for smoking. I don't suggest smoking ever, but it's something that I became addicted to at the age of 11 and 12 years old with cigarettes. So bad. And I was able to quit cigarettes like 5 years ago now. So, not saying that this is any better, but I do reuse the glass bottles. And I just have water in here right now because it's soaking. So I boil these and I get everything out of them. And then I soak them in water. And then I re-bless them. I take the outside off, all of that, because then I'm able to ship you guys oils that you can anoint. This is so great for putting your magical oil in and then anointing your candle with it, like a little, what do they call them, chime candles. They're sometimes hard to get the oil onto, and if you don't want to touch it, or if it's toxic oil that you don't want to touch, these are great. Everything in it is glass. The dropper is glass, which I just so love. You guys know how I feel about glass. So there's that, and I have loads of those that I keep on hand for when somebody orders an oil from my Etsy shop. Alright, so next we go to Costco and then get these little desserts, either like custard or creme brulee or tiramisu, and they come in these glass little things that you keep. We keep them, and I love to do little candle workings in here with herbs, just a chime candle and herbs around it. So I'll do some videos and show you how to reuse these baby food jars. I don't have any of those on hand right now, but those are one of my favorite things. Like, honestly, if baby food is on sale, an organic brand, I buy it. I get the jars. The jars to me are worth so much because they're tiny, they're glass, all of it, it's everything. But also baby food, if you don't want to waste it, you can add it to your pancake batter, like the sweet potato baby food, add that to your pancake batter, and it makes these, like, just amazing, like, almost like potato cakes. So good. So baby food jars are everything in witchcraft to me. Because see all these big jars? They're great for big items, but what if you just have a little bit of something you don't want to put in a big jar, yeah? So the next thing I was able to forage was I finished the pickles, because I made a big batch of tuna fish salad. So I used, like, for pickle jars, caper jars, that kind of thing, if you can't get the smell out of them, then just put dill in there, or put something in there that maybe has dill or has a smell like food. However, I do have a way for you to get the smell out. Mrs. Meyer's, the cleaning brand of stuff, Mrs. Meyer's makes a rosemary dish soap. If you use that rosemary dish soap and you scrub this out, and remember, rosemary, it has aromatherapy oil in it. Rosemary is a cleansing oil, and it has, or a cleansing herb, and it has cleansing properties, especially in witchcraft. So, great for the magical aspect, great for the medicinal aspect of smelling the aromatherapies while you're doing this, and then great for actually getting the smell of pickles out of the jar. So yeah, there's my giant jar. What can I put in here? I have so many things that I have in paper bags right now that I need to get onto the herb shelf. Pretty soon, all that area where I have my books, those down 2 shelves, is going to be gone as soon as I get all my herbs in jars. Alright, next thing I foraged from my kitchen was this from a very close town to Seattle, from this Eatonville farm, we got some raw goat's milk. I used raw goat's milk in my Cleopatra purification bath. In Egypt, goats, well, and goats in general, are revered in magic and witchcraft. We love them. They are our magical closest animal, even before the cat, you know? And that, I guess, depends on the person, but as far as my research tells me, that we get more magical history from the goat than the cat. So, however, in Egypt, the cat was everything. Protector of the home, wards away evil, takes care of you while you're sleeping, and does things that sounds kind of like a shoemaker and some elves, or Nissa. But anyway, raw goat's milk, look, you can do so many workings in this jar, right? This jar, you could turn it in for a $1.50 refund. No, I'm keeping it, and it has a cap that comes with it. So, not only does it have some cool moon markings on it, and, you know, talking about goats, and it was holding goat's milk. This would be a great thing to put my purification bath powders in. This would be a great thing to do any working that you needed goat energy for. I have a book here that I read to find out energies of animals for spiritual intention, etc. However, I do also get a lot of information, and I've done videos on goats and bats and all kinds of animals, but I don't think I've done a cat video yet. Why is that? I don't know. These two books also give me a lot of information about goats. So, if you need that goat energy, put the working in the goat milk's jar, because this held actual raw goat's milk. It was never pasteurized. It was never filtered. When they sell this in America, they tell you it's not an edible, because it has so much bacteria and could make you sick, apparently. But they have to say that because it's not pasteurized. It's kind of sad, the food regulations that we have here. So anyway, next on to what I've foraged. Now we have actual foragings from, like, the forest and the outdoors. So we've said all of that. First, I will show you this. This big chunk of ivy. So when we take my daughter to horse lessons, every time we drive down the little lane, these trees are just wrapped in ivy. And I'm always telling Alex, I need to get out of the car and grab some. And then by the time we go back, I'm like, it's too cold, never mind. Well, it's this full moon is coming. I'm setting intentions. We're going to be doing binding workings. There's not many better natural ingredients for binding than ivy. I'm going to be doing a video on ivy, hopefully today, and all of its magical qualities. But just look at what it does to a tree, to a house, to a lattice, to anything you put it next to. It binds it. It also covers and protects, if you're going to look at it in a different aspect. But before you look in your books and before you read what it actually does, please ask yourself, and please look inward and think to yourself, what could this do for me? Imagine yourself as the ancestors of Hoodoo coming into America, not knowing anything and trying to figure it out for their own, because that's something else. That's how you know the magical intentions it will do for yourself personally, in my opinion. Now, the magical intentions you get from Scott Cunningham's books, the green and the red, whenever I talk about the green and the red books, we're talking about these, right? Whatever it's going to say in here about ivy certainly has all the properties for you too, but I'm telling you, when you look inwardly and you ask yourself that before you hear the research, you can find out the answer from your true self, not going, oh, that makes sense, I would have guessed that too, because you never know what you would have guessed once you know the answer. And that's why I like to, if I'm talking about something, give you guys a little time to think about it, if you're watching me live or something. Alright, so ivy. Gorgeous, beautiful, and just utterly fantastic for magical workings. And of course, when I took it from the tree, I asked. I left an offering, and I said a blessing when I was right there. You know, I blessed myself, I blessed the working. I told the tree what the working was for as well. You know, I told the tree, I have a working. I need to do some binding work. I said the situation, and I waited and I listened, and I just felt that it was okay. You'll know if it's okay or not, and if you hear that no, you better move on and just go to the next source, because I truly believe that spirits reside in plants, just like they do in animals and humans and other things. Maybe not in the same way, but it's a living thing, so we definitely need to honor that, right? Alright, so Buddha's hand. Alex dried some of these out for me because he, on Jukshy Farms, his YouTube channel, he grows witchcraft herbs for me, and he also tries rare and exotic fruits. So he's dried some of this Buddha's hand. And this is really cool, because if you are an eclectic witch, and they make, look, it looks like Nessie. Loch Ness Monster! Ah! So if you're going to be doing any eclectic witchcraft workings, and you love Buddhism, and you add that into your witchcraft, use some Buddha's hand. Or make some crafts with Nessie, or use these to come sticking up or out of some wax candle. That would be really cool. Or you could make a really killer mustache. No, really though, you could put them on a poppet for a mustache if the poppet was that big. You could make some cool eyebrows. This is like one of those memes. What I'm really doing in witchcraft versus what my family thinks I'm doing in witchcraft, right? You guys are the best. Funny. Okay, so Buddha's hand, you could use that if you wanted to connect to your Eastern religion, if you wanted to kind of, I looked it up, I couldn't find any magical qualities, so the things that are like rare exotic fruits from other lands, I just use my pure intuition on. So that's what I'm talking about. If for some reason any of you who are watching know that Buddha's hands has a certain magical quality, please type it in the comments below. I very much appreciate everybody contributing on this channel. We are a big family here. And by saying that, if you like my content, please like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate it. I'm not a big social media gal, so... Next, let's talk about this one. This one is amazing. These are... We grew these here ourselves at Jukshy Farms. They're sometimes called buzz buttons, but the true word for it is Asteracea, A-S-T-E-R-A-C-A-E-A, otherwise known as the toothache plant, buzz button, Szechuan button, or tiny flowers. So we grew them here at Jukshy Farm from seed. They're edible. The flower buds are edible. That's what we've got here. And they're straight out of a Willy Wonka movie, because when you bite into one, it's an insane thing that happens. And it's, I've written on here with the information that I got. What the heck does this say? With chewing leaves and... So it, you chew the leaves or the flowers, and you will get the benefits of this relieving a toothache. I've never tried this, and I have a toothache, so I'm actually going to put one in my mouth for the very first time. So let's see how it goes while I keep telling you about what I've got. Here we go. Toothache plant. Toothache. Here's my little toothache mojo bag I've been keeping right there, but it looks weird in the video, so I took it out. Okay, so chewing the flower bud. Here we go. Let's see if it's like Willy Wonka. So it tastes kind of like... Whoa, it tastes really... Oh my god. It tastes like dill at first, and then now it's like making my whole side of my mouth numb. My tongue's numb. Oh my god. It's taking over the side of my mouth. This is definitely a natural Novocaine. if you had a toothache, yeah, this is insane. Now it feels like it's tingling and buzzing. Tastes kind of like a radish. It's zipping through my mouth. Like, the feeling is so crazy. You might want to do this just for fun to try it. It's really cool, but I see why they say it's great for a toothache. I'll probably be doing a video just on this when I do more information on it. My whole tongue is completely numb. I can't really feel that. Oh my god. That's nuts. Please try this. The toothache plant from Juckshire Farms. Or, excuse me, toothache plant, aka Buzz Button. That's one of the coolest things I've felt in a long time. It's totally a new feeling, and when I breathe in, there's no cool like there normally would be on your tongue. It actually feels hot. But not a heat, like a tingle hot or numbing hot. That's nuts. I'm really glad I tried that. Okay. So not lastly. Next, we've got these. And they are called Snowberries. Basically, I'll tell you the little story about how we found these. We were driving in the dark, and in the dark, and it was pretty dark, we saw this, it looked like white lights, like little white dots that were neon white in the bush. It feels so weird in my mouth. Completely numb. Like, it's getting more numb as time goes by, and that's not even in my mouth anymore. Because I thought if I kept it in longer, I wouldn't be able to finish the video and talk. Okay, so back to these Snowberries. They were on a bush in the dark, and they were glowing, literally, like you could see them. So Alex picked them, and yeah, they're called Snowberries, so why couldn't you work them for snow workings? But I want to tell you a little bit about the medicinal effects. They're hard berries and seeds. They're so hard that after they fall on the ground, it takes up to 10 years to germinate. So that's different. It will also cause a small child to vomit, and an adult will be just very nauseous. So if for some reason you needed your child to vomit, like they ate something that was poisonous or had a super bad bellyache and couldn't throw up, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Please, please, please. This isn't medical advice. This is friendly advice. I'm not a doctor. But in the wild, if you needed if your kid ate poison berries, these would be a good thing to have on hand to get them to throw up. For an adult, it just makes you very nauseous. So this could save the life, these little berries, of a little child. But again, that's not medical advice. Alex, right, we said with that. Snowberries, they contain saponins, saponins. It's a toxic chemical, but it's poorly absorbed by humans. That's why it's okay to use them in homeopathy and naturopathic works. So Snowberries, check them out, and when I do workings with the snow water that I was sent from Chicago by Tess on, I believe, her first snowfall, I will be using these Snowberries as well. So I'm looking forward to putting together a video on that. Now, lastly, I want to tell you about the things I found while I was waiting for my ride outside of my work, after work, okay? Alright, so I found two trees, and they both had different pine cones. One is this tree, and I like this for possibly a wand. I just like the end, how it's really like crazy. I want to put different things at the end so it projects into a wand. And then this tree. both, I believe, are some sort of maybe like evergreen pine or something. Or some sort of pine, right? And so there's 2 different pine cones. These ones, which when they open they look like this. So cool. Mostly I got these in the box. I just got a huge box. When we were reading about the Fool card in my Decoding Crowley's Thoth Tarot, we learned that burning pine cones and such would be a really cool working to do for the Fool card, for a person who's beginning a new spiritual journey, a person who is starting from zero, going through till the end, trying to find themselves, something, you know, a new job, this could relate to a lot of new beginning type things, right? Just out of a divorce, a new. So, the other pine cones were this. Anyway, we were reading in Decoding Crowley's Thoth Tarot, which is the main book that I read out of. And it was talking about burning pine cones and how the pine cone was symbolic and things like that. And when I gathered these pine cones, I had no idea what I was going to use them for. But now I think that I'm going to put together something like a big wreath or something, and then possibly burn it, like set it alight, and put something in the inside of that wreath, and set the wreath on the ground. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm really excited, and that's what I've gathered these pine cones for. But in general, and I'll do a video on pine cones, sure, why not? Pine cones are great. They represent fertility. When squirrels harvest them, they're harvesting them because there's a bunch of seeds inside, right? Is that the pine nut? Is it? Alright, so last thing I've got to show you, or no, and then I also gathered a rock when I was getting those pine trees. I was just drawn to this rock. Oh, I did one other thing. Inside there, you know how when the side of a sidewalk is painted and it says, "Don't park here, no parking, emergency vehicle only"? There was a part of the sidewalk that had chipped away, and it was a rock that was just painted red on one side, so it was from that caution sign. And I took the little tiny rock chip because you could use that in workings for cautionary workings. You can use it for warning workings. You can use it, you know, any way that you can think of it. And that's not going to be something you look up in a book. It's not going to say, if you find a chip off of, unless it's my book that I write someday, if you find a chip off of the edge of the sidewalk from the caution for the fire department, then this is going to mean exactly this. No. That's why we need to listen within. And if you see something you think you can use for a magical working that's not going to cost you $10 to $50, do it, you know. So, lastly, and I know I keep saying that, but this is the last thing, I have this. Okay, my husband, Alex, he's into all these exotic fruits. This is called a miracle berry. Obviously, it died, but the roots are attached. The tree is there. It's called miracle berry. I'm saving this working for when I need to do something as close to a miracle as possible for somebody. I'm thinking I'm going to attach different things on each bit, or different intentions or words or petitions. And I mean, it's so beautiful, I don't ever want to burn it, but I feel like that might be the best way. So anyway, when somebody needs a working with this piece and this working will cost a bit of money. But I'll take this out in the full moon on Sunday, and I'll continue to take it out in full moons so that it's a blessed item. So if anybody needs a miracle working, let me know. This is what I'll be using that for. But also, you could use root balls like this for grounding workings, okay? Being more in touch with the earth, literally. So yeah, these are my ideas for things that you can forage around your house. Anywhere from a beer can or a sugar box to pine cones and some ivy. So there's that. Come back with me, Jen the Taxidermy Witch, while you see me add these things into my practice. And how crazy was that? Really, this toothache plant, aka buzz button, Szechuan button, amazing. Amazing, cool feeling. My mouth is still numb. So if you ever need natural Novocaine, there you go. Alright guys, I'll see you soon.